Humanity consciousness elevates, it means that people dwell more in possibilities than in impossibilities. That people more look at what is rather than keep regurgitating what is not, working, happening, shouldas, the kudas, and the wouldas. And so imagine a world right now for 5 minutes, if everybody in this world will focus and believe in what is, rather than dwell and regret what is not.
Can you talk about time and timelessness? Sometimes I think time is very important, other times I don't feel it at all.
Well, time is a lens of existence that we experience in this dimension. We experience past, present, and future. We experience here and now. We look at our spatial experiences through the lens of past, present, and future. There are other lenses to look at our experience through, and that's the lens where everything exists at the same time, in one beat or in a space that we cannot perceive in this dimension because this dimension is so clock bound. And we know that time is just a perception because sometimes a moment feels very long and sometimes a moment feels very short. So yes, our time and timelessness are kind of intertwined because a spirit that was never born and will never die kind of does not really belong solely to this dimension. It just visits at this dimension. So it's timeless. And it's so cool how in our timed existence we can tap into our timeless existence. And they're both here. And once we leave our body, we go back to a timeless existence. Timeless means that everything exists all the time. And based on your focus, you can experience different aspects of your life. And that does not mean that there's only one option of unfoldment. There's realms of possibilities. So it's almost like a game of chess with tons of things to move and to play with. It's more like a mixing soundboard. There's a lot of buttons.
I just got fired. I'm sad and ashamed, but I tried really hard to do something I'd never done before. How do I let this go and keep moving forward on my path of recovery from mental illness and addiction?
Every moment is either to uplift us or to take us down. And how we relate to our moments, the ones that are benign and the ones that are very challenging, as you seem to be having right now, it's an opportunity or it's a liability. You choose. Seems like you took a step and it backfired. Maybe it backfired for now, maybe there's something else. The end of the story is only when you decide the story ends. Seems like to me it's an unfoldment. If you take away the emotional attachment, and if you just remember your courage as you try to heal from those addictions and other things in your life, and you use a lot of allowance and forgiveness for yourself and for the moment, and what inspires you is the spark in your heart and the inspiration to move forward to a place where you feel that you matter and your voice is heard and everything has some kind of an order that nurtures you, then this moment is just one small moment on this great path of your life. Sometimes you have to go to the big picture to get inspired because the details of the everyday pictures are very mundane and everything seems like it's impossible. You owe it to yourself with everything that you've been through to find the spaces in yourself where it is possible. I wish you much luck.
Can you tell us some ways it might look if humanity's consciousness really elevates or evolves?
Humanity consciousness elevates, it means that people dwell more in possibilities than in impossibilities. That people more look at what is rather than keep regurgitating what is not, working, happening, shouldas, the kudas, and the wouldas. And so imagine a world right now for 5 minutes, if everybody in this world will focus and believe in what is, rather than dwell and regret what is not. From their heart, from their presence, not from their ego. Pretty awesome, isn't it? 5 minutes, so now 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 years. You know, there's a lot of stories of suffering. There's a lot of suffering in this world. There's a lot of suffering in the stories of the Bible. There's a lot of suffering around. It's amazing how much difference a person's joy can bring in themselves, in the people around them, and around the world they live in, and, echoing outwards. When you're happy, you're powerful.
I find myself judging a lot. Better, worst, best. How can I work on not seeing the world through that lens?
Just like right now, I tell you, I can fly. I can really physically fly right now. I can do this and I will start, ascending up, and I can fly with the birds. Would you believe me? You can hear me talking about me physically flying and you won't believe me, right? So that's what it is, those voices inside you that keep judging and judging and judging and judging. They stay there because you identify with them, you believe the content, you want to dialogue with the content, you feel emotional about the content one way or another. You see, the lens of judgment is a very miserable lens. It makes you feel always less, or it makes you feel that someone else is less. It's a very lonely place, the lens of judgment. And so I guess when you were a kid, your parents said, eat this or drink this, it's good for you, and you really hated the taste that made you sad. Why not finding lenses in you that inspire you? If you're a very judgmental person, you probably come from very judgmental people. And probably through judgment, they taught you what is right and what is wrong, like what they thought was they judged as right is right, etc. There's also the lens of acceptance, there's also the lens of allowing, there's also the lens of expression, and also the lens of being kind to yourself and see how it affects everything else. One of the biggest liabilities of being judgmental is that it doesn't feel good inside you. And maybe you have a way where you could feel more inspired with yourself, and it's never through the lens of judgment. And when I say that, I just want to say, being completely honest and transparent with yourself, I feel is a virtue. So I can look at myself and say, you know something? I get it. I could have done this, that, or the other, but I accept that that's how it meant to be. I did the best I could. I'm learning from it. I'm inspiring myself. Plus, I also acknowledge the places where it works. And also, it's never through the lens of it worked or it didn't work. It's all through the lens of the different colors of my life experiences. And there is so much space in there for so many expressions. Black and white, yes and no. Black and white, yes and no. It's a very, very narrow space to allow your life to go through. It hurts. Thank you. It's very nice for you to be here. It's very nice to see you. It's very nice to meet you. I'm Ronit, and if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to see if I can shed some light on your questions. Thank you.